Okay guys, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how, well really it's an intro to rigging with constraints here, because this is the basic building blocks of rigging, and excited to show you guys. It's an interesting process, but we'll go ahead and get started. So up here where it says modeling, you're going to have to change this down to rigging. There's a whole bunch of other tabs: animation, rendering, effects. But we're going to be working in the rigging tab, and this will actually change the different options and different menus you have up here. So if you go to rigging, you'll see that these changed up a lot. Then you'll see this constrain button up here. It's also in the animation one. You have constrain because you use a lot of constraints for animation, which I'll show you guys in the part 2 for constraints. But we can go to rigging for now, and then in constrain you'll see there's a few different ones up here: parent, point, orient, and scale. So these are all the ones that we have to worry about for right now, and we'll probably do aim as well, if I haven't already said aim. But point all the way through aim, and then I'll teach you guys about parent constraints in another little segment. But point, orient, scale, and aim. So I'll first show you what they do, and then I'll kind of explain them a little bit. So we're going to work with a point constraint first. So I'm going to select the square, hold down shift and select this sphere, do constrain, go into this little options box here and hit apply. So what a point constraint does is, if you constrain this object to this, it'll follow it any translational way you need it to go. But what it doesn't do is, if say you rotate it, it doesn't follow any rotational or scale values. So it's just if you need to follow something translationally, which can be helpful sometimes. And so then we'll go on to the next one. We'll select this one as the controller, this one as the controllee, go to constrain, and then we'll do an orient constrain. Click on the options box, and then I'll talk a little bit about what this guy does: maintain offset. So say you want this shape to maintain the distance that it already has from the controller. You want to keep this clicked on. I think if we reset the settings, it's automatically clicked off, so you'll want to click it on. Normally that's what you want to be doing, but I'll show you what happens if it's turned off. It'll snap to the axis of which this guy goes to. So hit apply. Let's see. Oh, well, I forget because it's only orient. Let's see what happens. You can't really see it, but the sphere is rotating. Let's see if we can't do some shadowing so we can kind of show that off a little bit. For this one, it might actually be smarter to do the sphere to the cube, do constrain, orient. And so now when we rotate this guy, it follows the same rotational values, which is kind of cool. And well, with maintain offset turned off, it was actually supposed to snap to the same axis, but it didn't. I guess that's only for rotational. So I guess that makes sense. So let's see here. Yeah, this one rotates, follows the rotational, but if you were to move it or if you were to scale it, it doesn't follow any of those values, just rotate. Okay, so then we'll go on to the next one: controller, controllee, constrain. This will be scale. So as you can imagine, it just controls the scale value. So if we're going to scale this guy up, this one follows suit, and say we were to move that one over there, follows the same kind of suit. So if you ever need to scale anything up like that together, it's kind of helpful. And then last one we'll do is a aim constraint. So what this one is we'll have this cone pointing at this cube over here. So controller, controllee, do constrain, aim, and this one we kind of have to go into the settings here a little bit. So we'll turn off maintain offset for this one, because it's not, we want this point to be pointing directly at the cube, so we actually want to turn this one off. And then what we'll do is, so this is the Y direction, so this is X, Y, Z. So aiming with Y, so this one is 1, so this is what we want to do. If we wanted to point it with the X direction, we would put the 1 here instead. So this should be good. You may have to change your settings a little bit. Let me reset. So normally it'll look like this. You can leave off maintain offset, and then you can change your X to 0, and you can change your Y to 1. And then when you hit add, what it'll now do is the cone will follow and point anywhere the box goes, which is kind of cool. Even if it scales up, down, even if it rotates, it's all just going to be pointing directly at the middle of where the box is going, which can be pretty helpful. Aim constraints are used a lot with cameras and following certain subjects that a camera may have to follow, and it's pretty useful for that. So those are the basics of constraints. So I'll give you guys this Maya file, and you can kind of play around with it a little bit. The most used one is a parent constraint, and then I'll teach you guys about pole vector in an assignment a little bit down the line. But for now, just play around with point all the way down to aim, and see what kind of cool stuff you guys can make easier for yourselves whenever you're playing around with those.